Okay, I'm going to do a video of priming the oiling system in my 55 Studebaker Speedster. I made up a tool for that. Basically goes down where the distributor drive shaft goes down into the oil pump, and you turn it counterclockwise. I've got the dash oil pressure gauge plumbed in, and I'm just going to run it. See, I've got oil pressure, and I've got oil flow coming up to my top end. Yep, rocket shafts are just drooling oil. That's good. So the engine has been primed with oil pressure. So this is the drill that I used to turn that oil pump counterclockwise. And this is the tool I made. Just out of some rebar on the grinder. Did a little relief in here because this was an area that contacted inside the engine block. I didn't want to have it causing any shavings, so I ground that down and polished it, and I ground down and polished where it goes into the chuck there. And this is the distributor drive mechanism. That tab goes into the oil pump, so you can see how that works. Works quite well. I had a little mishap here with the oil, though. I had a pretty big leak, and that was because, silly me, I did not tighten down this bolt here when I put it on. I was fitting this washer, and I wasn't too sure if it was going to fit properly. That was several months ago. So I left the cap loose, and when I ran it up and got my oil pressure, the oil leaked out the top of the oil filter housing, went down into the valley cover, underneath the intake manifold, and ran down the back of the engine and spilled on the floor. I put rags down here underneath the heads above the spark plugs because I don't have a spare set of rocker covers to put on there and watch the oil coming up through these push rods to make sure the top end is getting oiled. So I decided I'll just catch the oil here. It's going to spill a little bit, but I've caught it with the rags. Try to keep the whole thing clean. Basically, the shop is heated, so any oil that's spilled on the engine is going to run off down eventually and down onto the floor anyway. More rags on this side. So I'm glad to have got that part done. It was a good little bit of work for this evening, and I'll do a little bit more tomorrow. 1955 Studebaker Speedster with a 289 Passmaster V8 engine. 4-barrel, dual exhaust. This engine is supposed to make about 185 horsepower, about 240 foot-pounds of torque. So it should put this car down the road quite nicely. And I'm looking forward to driving it. And I'm hoping that's not too long. I've got the rest of the winter, but time flies when you're having a good time. I've also got all the interior to put back together. All the gauges are out. Wiring harness has been all rebuilt, but it's all got to go back together. And steering column to rebuild, which I've got here on the bench. This pivot here is worn out, oversized, and I've got to re-engineer that because I can't get this piece a replacement for this right away. Maybe sometime in the future, but I think I'm going to try boring this out a little bit bigger and then boring through this pivot here a little bit bigger and then using a larger diameter roll pin. And that might just do that repair. Anyway, that's what I'm doing on my 1955 Studebaker Speedster. To be continued.